Now here's a story, and I'm going to let Rachel Maddow tell the majority of it. That restaurant, Magliano's Little Italy, is located in a suburb of Washington, D.C. It's a pretty popular restaurant. Check out what went down with this thing.
On Friday afternoon, on the eve of this twice the usual size white supremacist conference, a restaurant in the suburbs of Washington, D.C., they took a last-minute booking for a banquet that night. The people who called said they needed to book a room for a family reunion. And the managers of the restaurant said the family name was generic. They had no reason to think this was anything other than what it seemed like. They tell us that 80 or so people came in for that, maybe 100 people. But then something got weird. At one point, they told us that 50 people from outside on the street burst into the restaurant to try to storm this family reunion event, protesting the presence of whatever generic name family reunion was going on in that banquet hall. That was strange. The restaurant blocked the surge from outside, but then they realized there were a lot more protesters outside in the street, and the resulting confrontation between the two sides, somebody threw a stink bomb into the fray. Management ended up calling the police. They ended up shutting down the restaurant for the night. For everybody's safety, they said, while they were cleaning up, sort of trying to figure out what they were in the middle of, somebody sent the restaurant a picture. And you recognize there in the picture, ye olde Nazi salute. The restaurant staff also recognized in that picture their own light fixtures, their own chandeliers in the background. And that's when they realized, oh, who really had been there.
Now you see the name up on top, Tila Tequila. That broad is racist to her goddamn heart, and as you can see, she's throwing out the Nazi salute. That's her on the, obviously there's only one woman there, that's her on the right side, with two of her buddies also giving out the salute.
Yeah, they'd made a reservation like they were a family reunion, but what that actually was on Friday night, unbeknownst to the restaurant, was the white supremacists getting ready for the conference in town the next day. Today, that restaurant issued a statement about what happened. Quote, "This expression of support of Hitler is extremely offensive to us, as our restaurant is home to teammates and guests of every race, religion, and cultural background. We want to sincerely apologize to the community of Friendship Heights for inadvertently hosting this meeting, which resulted in hateful sentiment. We want you to know that at the suggestion of one of our guests, we're donating the profits from our restaurant sales on Friday, $10,000, to the DC office of the Anti-Defamation League, which for decades has been working to bring people together in peace and understanding." So that restaurant apparently had no idea what it was getting into. They are apologizing for the mess. They are trying to make it right. They want no part of what was displayed by their customers that night. They consider it a threat to their way of doing business. That restaurant has been very clear about that in the suburbs of Washington, D.C. They got into something with people they did not know what they were going to get, from whom they did not know what they were going to get. They acknowledged it as wrong. They fessed up to it. They said they did not want to support it in any way. They said what they believed was wrong about it, and they have distanced themselves and given away their profits from the night. That's one way to handle things like this. Now back to presidential politics.
Now, one thing I want to say is those people that stormed that place, those were Jews. They got wind of that thing, and those Jews went in there to try to handle their business. And that's one thing that you got to give to Jews. Anytime they see any type of Nazi bullshit rolling around, they jump on it lickety-split. The other thing I want to say about it is those white supremacists, it was kind of chicken shit for them to lie to the restaurant owners stating that it was a family reunion. Now, maybe that wasn't absolutely a lie, because they probably felt that all the people coming from all around the country to get together were their family underneath white supremacy. So, you know, I guess they could have considered it a family reunion, but we all know that that is bullshit.
Because now there has been a mass gathering of hundreds of white supremacists giving the Hitler salute and saying, "Hail Trump," and talking about the natural genetic destiny of white people to conquer all other races. We've got supporters of Donald Trump celebrating his victory with the Nazi salute. And so in presidential politics, that creates a little bit of an imperative. If you're the guy who they're so psyched about, I mean, if you don't want that kind of support, if you do not want to be an inspiration to those kinds of people, you do actually have to overtly denounce them. You don't have to disavow them. Nobody's saying you created them, but you have to denounce them and say what is wrong about them specifically, because in the absence of your doing that, they are gaining power because of their perceived connection and alliance with you.
See, but that's the whole point. He wants their support, okay? He has accepted their support left, right, up, and down throughout the primaries, and it started in the Iowa caucuses. All these white supremacists went in there, got on phone banks to try to drum up the votes for him when he first started. And they've continued to do that throughout the entire primary. So those are his supporters, and there is no damn way in hell that he's going to walk away from their support. He's going to give some bullshit lip service, okay, which they all recognize that he has to do. But as far as any type of a definitive denouncement of these people, you're never going to hear it out of his mouth. So, folks, I'm just saying, get ready, because this is just going to get worse.